Alright, I've been given the okay to start talking. Hello everyone, welcome to Rabi-Ribi. This is a bullet hell Metroidvania type game. You're going to be seeing some adorable rabbits hopping around, beating up people with hammers.
It's going to be real good. This race is going to be a 10 town members casual alternative race. So that means is that they've got to get to the end of the main game after recruiting 10 magic using town members, which is basically the equivalent of a no major glitches category. And alternative mode is something you don't see a whole lot of in terms of speedrunning. What this means is that the boss level is going to increase based on how far along you are in the story, rather than scaling to match how strong your character is.
Yeah, in the standard mode of the game, the boss level is kind of determined based on your item pickups and story progress and things like that, but in alternative mode, it is increased just by the story progress you have, so it creates a bit of a fairer playing field, I guess you could say. It definitely encourages more exploring and finding items than the normal speedrun would of just grabbing the bare minimum and being kind of a glass cannon the whole run.
Exactly. So you're going to see our runners picking up some items that you wouldn't normally see in a standard 10 town members run, just because it makes a little more sense. It's also true that our runners are doing a glitchless race this time, so you're going to see a bit more of the developer intended routing rather than the save glitching and boss skipping you'll see in a regular run of this game.
Yeah, I think we have a couple donations to be read right before the run.
You can get the run started.
Okay.
And then I will read them during whenever there's a break in the commentary. Just let me know.
All right. Then I guess I will count down now. Is that what we want?
As long as everyone's
go
ready.
for it.
All right. We will get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off.
All right, so immediately you're going to be seeing some speed tech in this game. We lovingly call bunny hopping. I mean, what else would you call it? If you
Exactly.
if you press down and A in the air, you get this quick drop down onto the ground, and it kind of increases your horizontal movement speed. So it's pretty much useful to use during the beginning of the game, and actually most of the game completely, because it's even after we get some movement upgrades, it still remains useful.
Yep, there are times where if you can drop from top to bottom real fast, it still makes sense even if you have easier movement options.
Mm-hmm. So right away we're already deviating from a standard run of this game. We're going down to get ribbon first. So at the beginning of the game, you're kind of stuck in the prologue. You're kind of confined to one line of travel here. You can't really branch off too much, and you have to defeat 3 bosses before you can get through the prologue section. We're coming down here to get ribbon first, which is typically the second boss you would fight, but since we actually don't have any weapons at this point, the first item you pick up is typically your hammer, your melee weapon. We don't have any weapons at this point, though, so the game kind of takes pity on us and just kind of drains the boss's health steadily over time, and it only takes really a moment. And with ribbon defeated, we actually have our ranged attack now before we even have our melee attack.
Yep. Ribbon works kind of like Mega Man with just regular pellets and charge shots. And that's going to be our only source of damage for a little bit until they go back and pick up the hammer.
Yeah, there's a lot of different shot types you can get for ribbon. I don't think you will be seeing any of the other ones. I'm not sure if some of the runners will decide to pick up the yellow magic or not. I guess we'll find out, because it's not too far away.
Believe from what I've watched, they'll still pick up yellow, but we'll see.
Okay. And we see Ali here picking up the Pico Hammer, which is our hammer, our melee weapon. It's super good. we're going to need to level it up a bit before it gets all of its abilities, but the leveling up just kind of comes and goes actually pretty quickly. You level up very quickly in this game, and then you just have your entire moveset almost immediately leading Prologue. I think we'll have everything. They also hopped up the little pillar here and picked up a Toxic Strike badge, which you probably wouldn't get until a little bit later in the game, but you can take this small little shortcut up there. Badges in this game, if you're familiar with Paper Mario, works kind of the same way. You have a certain amount of pack points, and you can equip them. They give some sort of stat boost. This one specifically gives kind of a poison effect to your attacks when you hit enemies with it. So it'll help out in boss fights a little bit.
Yeah, you might be wondering why we're finding all these items in a strange order. It's because they're doing a lot of hidden techniques, techniques that the game doesn't tell you about, such as wall jumping, which lets you sequence break a little bit in the prologue.
Here we get onto our, well, the usual first boss, but this is our second boss, Cocoa. This is kind of supposed to be like the tutorial boss. She kind of sits in one spot, doesn't do a lot of damage, and just kind of waits on you to hit her with the hammer enough until she's defeated. And our reward for this is the Carrot Bomb, which works just like the Morph Ball bombs from Metroid games. You just kind of drop them on the ground here, and they explode below you. They blow open hidden passages, and we're actually going to be using them as a main weapon against the boss later on.
Yep. The Carrot Bombs are another item, like the Hammer and Ribbon, that will increase in power and abilities as you use them.
I guess we can go slightly over the story of the game here. You play as Irina, a bunny who has been magically turned into a bunny girl. Oh no. And she's kind of trying to find her way home right now to figure out what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. And she's getting chased around by these people wearing fake bunny ears. Don't get confused. Those are actually fake bunny ears who are trying to catch real bunnies. And that's actually an adorable plot, and that's just about it, honestly.
So we saw Allie there blowing up a block with a bomb and collecting the hidden pack-up potion, which increases your pack points, which lets you equip more badges.
Yeah, I think we're only going to be getting one other badge this run, and that will be the attack trade badge, I think. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out. But
I believe that's correct.
Okay. I don't quite remember how many pack points you start with, but I imagine that you do need that pack up in order to equip both Toxic Strike and Attack Trade.
Also, Poppy stopping to pick up a health up potion, which just increases your max HP, makes things a little safer.
Yeah, some of the bosses later on can actually be really dangerous, so being able to damage boost through enemy attacks and just keep attacking them is pretty beneficial. And here we see Ashray, who is the final boss of the prologue and really likes to bounce around a lot. And if you're lucky, you can take her out before she hops off the top of the screen to drop stars on you, but it doesn't always work out.
But Allie's the first one through, and we'll be picking up the yellow shot, the Sunny Beam. And this gives Ribbon a new method of attack, just a laser beam that goes across the screen, doesn't flinch, but does continuous damage. And that's really nice for just sort of clearing the way in front of you and taking out minor enemies.
Yeah, the piercing attack doesn't do all that much damage, but I mean, it is a piercing attack, so it's definitely useful on kind of the trash enemies. Maybe less useful on bosses because it does do less damage than the blue shot, but for traveling around and exploring, it is pretty useful for that.
Yep. Also, because our runners have picked up and equipped Toxic Strike, it will activate the poison effect for very quickly and with little effort, which is kind of nice.
All right, if you want to read off donations, I think now would be a good time.
Great, yeah, we actually have a bunch, in case you haven't been paying attention to the donation counter, flying up here. There's $50 from Kai. That's KY, for those who are counting. Had to donate during one of my favorite games and one of my favorite marathons. Good luck to Hex and all the other runners. Please pet the kitty at the end. The kitty did get pet, so hey, we're good on that front. I have $125 from Delphine. Hi everyone, loving the marathon so far. I found some of my closest friends at Winter Pride last year, and I'm back this year to support you again. Thanks for doing what you do and being so amazing. All the best. Fruit Bat Salad donated $5. Good luck, Rabi-Ribi runners. $125 from Zen is Zen says, red heart, orange heart, yellow heart, green heart, blue heart, purple heart. Let's see a Fable glitch showcase. And $250 from Nikuvio says, thanks y'all for what you do. Good luck and have fun. And with that, I believe almost all of the donation incentives I mentioned have been met. I will check in on that in a bit.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So on the alley screen, we got boss fight versus Kotri. This is going to be the first of 3 encounters with Kotri we're going to have over the course of the run. You have to fight her 3 times to recruit her, unlike most other characters, but it's worth it because she sort of stands in the way. It's more trouble than it's worth to route around her, so just fight her 3 times.
Yeah, for what we kind of skipped there for a moment, we entered town to get back to the super interesting story of the game. We kind of entered town back where Arena lives. Arena found her master, because bunnies have a master, of course. And she kind of sends us on this quest to go find magic users throughout the world. And this is where the game really opens up. You get kind of a direction, like a recommended direction, that the game kind of gives you a pointer for on the minimap, but you don't have to follow that at all. It really opens up at this point. I think of the 14 available towns members at the very start of the game. That might be wrong, actually. Yeah, anyway, you need 10 to trigger the end, and then you kind of have like milestones. Like after 2 town members, you can advance to the next chapter of the game, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be running around the world, getting towns members, and then interrupting that with the chapter transition boss, and then just kind of keep going from there. But as we scale the park climb, at the bottom of the park climb, we did pick up the high jump boots. So our bunny's going to be hopping a little bit higher now, and makes scaling this little park area a lot easier.
Yeah, and you weren't supposed to have them quite yet. It was a little bit of a tricky jump you saw our runners do to pick them up without having to go through sort of a small mini gauntlet of fights, which is definitely a huge time save. We're going to see Poppy do it now as well.
Yeah, this little reverse wall jump here that you typically wouldn't learn your first time through the game unless you actually know it exists. But yeah, you can skip that entire area just from that little hop there. And we see Freya's about to pick up the attack trade badge. I believe Ali just picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
This badge this is the speedrun badge. This is the glass cannon badge. It gives you 25% more damage at the cost of taking 50% more damage. So you're really going to be hurting if you take a lot of damage with this on, but man, does it make fights fast.
Yep, you'll notice that our runners aren't equipping it right away because it doesn't really make sense to do so just yet, but it will come in handy later.
Yeah, during the park climb here, when you're taking out enemies in one hit anyway, there's really no reason to equip the badge that makes you taking more damage because, I mean, you don't need the extra attack power until you actually get to the next boss.
Here we've got our next area, the Sky High Bridge, one of my favorite musics in the game.
Got time for a quick donation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool, there's $20 here from Glitchless with 3 eyes. One of the participants in the Rabi-Ribi blind race that we did earlier this week. And Glitchless says, seems like this run is going a little better than my blind run. Maybe.
Yeah, shoutouts to those who participated in that blind race and to those who came by to watch it, perhaps getting a little bit excited for this race. That was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, I agree. And also, yes, both of the incentives I mentioned earlier, the Dilbert's Desktop Games and Fable Lost Chapters incentives have been met. We're actually doing really, really well on incentives. The only, capped donation incentive I think we have left at all is to read the Tony letter in Earthbound, which is the finale game of our marathon. So if you're looking for something important to put your donations towards, there's that. Beyond that, there's still a lot of like naming bid wars that have to be met and stuff of that nature. So keep those donations coming in. We have already passed, as far as I know, our donation total from Winter Pride 6 months ago, which is amazing.
Nice. So the item that Allie just picked up was the auto earrings, which is a nice little helpful item. When you charge up, your ribbon shot, she'll fire out, I think, 3 small pellets, which can help just do a little bit more damage over time. Speeds things up a little bit.
Yeah, it makes an interesting rhythm when you're charge attacking and like mashing out pellets from ribbon as well. Like mash 3 out, then start the charge, fire the charge, then mash again. We kind of glossed over the vanilla fight that Poppy has just finished. Vanilla is kind of on the way to come up here, so we want to get all the way over to Graveyard to tag the warp point there, which we will be coming back to later after a trip through the lab, which I believe Allie is beginning the fight to unlock. So the fight here against Susini, she has a lot of defense up buffs near the end of her fight, so it kind of gets to a slog at the end, and she likes flying around as well, so it becomes a little bit difficult to actually do damage near the end of the fight.
This is where you really see the Toxic Strike badge shining, because she floats around out of reach with lots of defense buffs, but the poison still goes through it. It does a little bit of damage without you having to touch her.
And after recruiting towns members, we can continue on to Chapter 2, but before then we have to fight Illusion Alias, which is kind of like the clone mirror match, your evil bunny self, I guess, who has more abilities than you, and it kind of shows off abilities that you'll be getting later. It's a nice little tease.
Yep. And Alia has no problems with the fight at all.
Yeah, Alias can be a bit of a jerk. She can do a lot of damage, and if you do take damage from her, you do get a damage and defense debuff, so if you take damage at fight, it just even takes longer.
Yeah, you can see that on Freyas' screen right now in the top left, the attack down and defense down buffs, or debuffs, but she gets through the fight and does a very good job as well.
Yep, and being in Chapter 2 and having Susini recruited, Susini will teleport you to the Golden Riverbank here and send you on a quest to her laboratory, which awaits a very nice movement item that we will be getting here in just a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to help a whole lot with not only going faster, but it does make the run a little bit easier on your hands. I know the runners were talking about this to us beforehand, that they were finding the run a little difficult just because of that, and that's the case for pretty much everyone. Everyone has this experience where the bunny hopping is just, it's a slightly difficult, repetitive motion. So I know personally when I do this run, I find the point where we get this item to be extremely helpful.
Yeah, it's very tiring being a bunny, I can tell you. Alright, so Allie falls down here. We'll be picking up the sliding powder, which allows us to slide underneath these small passages, but also allows us to slide jump, which is much faster than just bunny hopping around everywhere. Freya's going to be picking that up very soon as well, and Poppy on their way to the laboratory, going to be picking up fairly soon.
Yep, Freya's picks up the sliding powder. You can see them doing the slide jumps right away to take advantage of it into the fight with Mr. Big Box.
I love Mr. Big Box. He's just a big red box, and if you just kind of keep him in this corner, he doesn't really do anything but stand here and die.
Tries so hard, though.
He tries so hard. Poor Mr. Big Box. If you didn't have speedrun mode on, you would see the cutscene where he explodes quite miraculously, actually, and it just adds to the sadness a little bit.
The next mini boss fight in the laboratory here is the Rainbow Maid / Hollow Defense. Yeah, that boss fight can go off the rails if you aren't quick about it, because there's an attack where they just disappear for a bit, become invulnerable, and that drains so much time. So let's hope that doesn't happen to any of our runners.
Yeah, she always does it after, I think, doing 3 attacks. So as soon as she uses the 3rd attack, you need to just blow all your everything to take her out as quickly as possible. I guess we didn't mention that during the chapter transition from 1 to 2, we actually picked up the bunny amulet, which is actually really important item. It's signified by the little orb in the lower left of the screen. What that does is it gives you like half a second of invincibility when you use it. So it lets you dodge attacks that otherwise may, be really harmful, but it does some other pretty interesting things offensively as well. You'll notice at the bottom, just underneath Arena, you'll see a little SP meter, like right below the HP, you'll see an SP meter. And that is kind of your energy. When that runs out, you can't attack until that fills up again. The amulet sets your energy to a specific percentage based on how many amulets you have. So we only have 1 charge right now, but you can get up to 4 in the whole game. And it refills your SP very quickly, and it also removes kind of a cooldown of an ability we will be grabbing later. And here is the second poetry fight, which is probably the hardest of the 3 to do quickly. Almost every single one of her attacks, she likes to hang it out in the air here, and her hitbox is so weird that it's kind of difficult to actually hit her with Ribbon's blue pellets, but Freya's was doing a pretty good job of landing all of them there.
Yep. It was a really good job of continuing to put that damage on even when she's out of reach.
So with the warp to the graveyard area earlier, and now having the sliding powder, we can come over here and pick up the air dash, which is the best form of movement in the game, or at least it will be once we actually get to the shop to upgrade it. As of now, it's an okay weapon for fighting bosses, but for movement it is not so hot.
Yeah.
It was really great to come pick up.
Yeah, it doesn't have its utility for movement until you upgrade it a couple times at the shop in town, but it does deal a lot of hits with a lot of hit stun if you hit an enemy with it, so it's still useful to pick up as soon as you can.
Alright, Allie is falling off of Sky Island Town into the beach we were here earlier, has the slide so it can make a quick entrance into the pyramid, and it's going to be traversing through the pyramid to fight our next boss, and hopefully you will see the power of the air dash as an attacking option. While Poppy is fighting Kotri too, she can be really hard to hit with blue pellets, but the fan spread out that the yellow magic does on charge shots can actually be really useful for hitting her as well.
Yeah, that's the strat that I personally use in this fight if Kotri gets away from me, is equip the yellow magic and stand back and just let that spread get her.
Oh no, Allie took out one of the bunnies that throw bombs, so so she had to use her own bombs to blow her way through. Those bunnies are kind of really hard to get to do what you want to get them to do. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Alright, here's Pandora.
Yeah, this is the fight where we typically give a temporary seizure warning just because of the huge screen-encompassing flashing effects on some of her attacks.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I think typically she'll use it as her second attack or so, but it looks like Allie did skip that attack, so
nice.
We will not be seeing that on this side. Alright, Freya's is traveling through the pyramid. Got the bunny to actually drop a bomb this time, good. So we can get through without having to do some awkward bombing ourselves.
Allie is through the Pandora fight just as Freya starts. picks up the hourglass, which increases the amount of time your carrot bomb explosions stay on screen, which is a bit of a help. You can pick it up. It's not out of the way on your way out of this area.
Yeah, it may be kind of awkward because, as you may have noticed, we haven't been using carrot bombs really for damage at all. So what use would a longer explosion time be? But there is one boss that we do need to use carrot bombs on effectively, and the hourglass just makes that fight so much faster. So it's really just picking up for a single boss. Alright, out of the pyramid and into the snowland, I guess, because this game is has a lot of different environments in it.
A lot of different environments, it's very close together.
Yeah.
So the next item we're going to see Allie pick up is the super carrot, which Mikan, you were referring to a little bit earlier. This is sort of like the power bomb from Super Metroid.
Yeah, I guess you can compare it that way. It does kind of a big column of light above you, and kind of not full screen, but it encompasses a pretty good portion of the screen, and definitely everywhere above you. So it's actually one of those very rare attacks that you have that can actually hit above you. You will probably be seeing it here in the next fight against Rita. Oh yeah, you'll definitely see it against Rita, because Rita has an annoying air attack at the end.
Rita's whole strategy is to stay in the air.
Yeah. So, getting back to the super carrot, the Pillar of Light does a lot of damage. It can hit up to 4 times, I believe, depending on how close you are to the enemy. It has a charge up time before it actually goes off. You'll kind of see Arena trying to dig up something out of the ground, and then the super carrot will kind of explode around her. If you get hit during that animation, you actually take extra damage, so it's really important not to get hit while you're charging it up. And after you use it, it actually has, I think, about a 12-second cooldown, where you can use it again, but it takes a very long time to charge. It actually gets additional damage during that time as well. But if you use an amulet, it completely removes that cooldown, and you can immediately use it again very quickly.
Yep.
Pulling out the super carrot does actually give you invincibility frames during it as well, so you can actually chain together super carrot into amulet into super carrot and stay invincible the entire time.
Here we have a shop run from Allie, upgrading the air dash, so that now it's a really good movement option. You can see it takes Arena a very far distance across the screen. Also buying some attack ups to just increase their damage per second.
Yeah, attack ups are really important in alternative mode because of the boss scaling with story progress. So every boss you recruit, your next one you fight is going to be a little bit stronger. So the game expects you to explore around and get these power-ups, which we've been getting the attack-ups that are in the way, but we haven't been getting all of them. So we're kind of closing that gap, just buying some from the store.
Yep, the next boss is a rematch versus Illusion Alias. We've picked up some new abilities and are stronger, but it's the same for her too.
Yeah, she now has this hammer wave, which shoots a little energy blast across whenever she swings her hammer. She has the hammer roll, which zooms her across the arena very fast. She has the amulet now, which is actually really hard to dodge unless you use your own amulet, which makes you a tiny bunny, as you can see on Allie's screen. And it's actually a two-phase fight, because you have to fight the illusion ribbon now here as well. But the super carrot makes really quick work of it.
Got time for a donation?
Yes,
Sure
please.
do.
Fantastic, because we have $65 from Poopoof, who says, "What a week! Both a blind race and a speedrun race of Rabi-Ribi. This game looks really cute, and seeing it twice in the same week makes me want to go get it right away." And with that, we have officially reached the most important donation total of $6,666. Woo!
Oh wow, that's a nice evil number for an evil bunny. No, I'm just kidding. Arena's probably an evil.
Probably.
Probably. She's only running around beating up everyone with a hammer. So now that we are in Chapter 3 and have the lab area done, we can access the system interior area, which is, I guess, kind of inside the computer. It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's never quite explained exactly how this works, but yeah, we're in the computer now. And one thing you'll notice here is that enemies in the computer are immune to melee damage. You can't use the hammer on them. It just does not work. So you got to rely on other sources of damage.
Yeah, Ribbon, of course, is a very good option, but funny enough, the buff that all the enemies have that makes them immune to hammer damage also gives them a vulnerability to carrot bombs, which, as we may have alluded to earlier, this boss here is going to be super susceptible to carrot bombs, and Ali should be starting to fight here after this kind of long screen. A lot of carrot bomb usage in this fight. Super carrot will work too. And Freya's is actually not too far behind.
Yep, and we have a fight versus Sharo. Just drop carrot bombs, use ribbon, and the fight will go very, very well.
She likes to shoot lasers and rockets, and actually has this really annoying attack where she disappears. It's possible to skip this. It's really tight though. Yeah, it's a little difficult, so we'll see.
One thing we kind of glossed over is the item they picked up in this area, the air jump, allows you to double jump, which is, as you might imagine, super important in a Metroidvania.
Oh yeah, the combination of double jump and air dash just makes movement in this game, it feels so fun. I just love moving around in this game, honestly, when I have all the movement abilities.
You can see an example of it there. Ali and Freya both did it, where you airdrop in that one room and then do a double jump, which keeps your momentum going, and then an air dash to just sail above all the enemies there.
Freya's did have a very nice shadow fight getting out of there. I think they skipped the long, annoying, disappearing attack. Just a minor detour leaving the system interior to grab this attack up, which is now available now that we have the double jump. And we are headed down to Cocoa Cave, I believe. That's what I lovingly call it.
Nice. Meanwhile, Poppy dealing with this mini-boss fight against this horde of mechanical maids.
Yeah, there is a glitch that allows you to practically skip every kind of mini-boss encounter. However, this is a glitchless run. We are not doing that glitch. And that is super okay. It lets you see more of the game, like as it's intended.
That glitch does hilarious things to the music in one of the mini-boss fights, so...
It really does. It's definitely worth checking out sometime. Alright, so interesting thing about Cocoa Cave here, it's just kind of this long, straight tunnel here. You have to go to this right side of the screen, go down or right one screen. It doesn't matter which one you do, but if you go down, you can pick up the charge ring down here. And then on your way back, that'll actually cause the boss to appear. The charge ring lets Ribbon do a double charge. If you hold the charge button long enough, it'll increase in power, and some of the shots actually get extra properties to it, like the blue double charge will cause the attack to pierce through enemies, much like the yellow does.
Maybe the rematch versus Cocoa. She's a little more intimidating this time, with some more difficult and more plentiful attacks.
A lot more bombs. I believe she actually has an above average amount of health for a boss at this stage, is how I feel anyway. I don't know if that's actually true, but it sure does feel like it.
It might be that, or it might just be the fact that she gets defense buffs a lot, and it's also very hard to hit because she surrounds herself with hitboxes so that you can't do damage as quickly. That's
true. We see Ali there. Cocoa started her super attack, and I think it's happening on Freya's screen right now. Oh my gosh, these are really
wow.
That was
totally evened up the race between Freya and Ali.
Yeah, that was a really super Cocoa fight, actually. So after 6 town members, you get this silly little mini-boss thing where you play as Rita and get to kick some bosses in the face, and it's already over.
Yep, that's it.
I don't know, it's just this kind of weird thing that happens after 6 town members.
It was so funny. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Proto.
I've been practicing reading a donation I've got here for like 10 minutes now, so let me know when I've got time to read it.
I want to hear
I am ready.
Yeah, for it.
All right, well, Xandra donated $5. Oh my gosh, a Rabi-Ribi City Buddy bullet. Ah, dang it! No, I've been practicing for 10 minutes.
All that practice.
A Rabi-Ribi City Buddy bullet dodgy hammer whammy fairy shooty slippy slidey triple runner bunny race. Good luck, everybody.
Woo!
I'll go home now. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was very good.
It did it better than I would have after 10 minutes practice. Alright, exiting Cocoa Cave here. We are now in the volcano area. We followed down this big kind of vertical shaft here and find the fire orb, which is actually really strong. Whenever you deplete all of your SP, that's your energy you use for attacking, it creates these 3 little orbs of fire around you, and those actually do a lot of damage. They can hit through enemy invincibility frames or shield frames or whichever one it is that we like to call it. It hits through those, it does a lot of damage. It actually gives you contact damage as well, so if you manage to ram an enemy accidentally, it'll do damage to the enemy as well.
It doesn't prevent you from taking contact damage, though.
Right. There is a badge that does that, but we're definitely not getting that. So here's the third fight against Kotri, and this is the glass cannon Kotri. She has much less health than the second fight, or at least it feels like it at this stage. But she does a lot of damage, and afflicts you with a debuff that causes you to take damage over time, so you really don't want to get hit by it, but I think that we've acquired enough health ups that it shouldn't really be that much of an issue. She also uses her super, which I guess you've seen some bosses where their portrait will cut in, you'll see them do the super attack. Kotri 3 uses her super at about half health, which is a lot higher than almost any other boss. So you have to kind of be prepared for her to be in the air for at least half of the fight. But now that we have double jump, it actually really is kind of trivial to get up there and actually attack her during it.
Yeah, the double jump also helps a lot dodging that wave of lava that appears on the bottom of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
So I would just say that was an excellent Kotri 3 from Allie.
Yeah, I think they, Allie and Freyas both took her down very quickly. Poppy on their way to Kotri 3 right now. I'm going to be grabbing the wall jump here. I guess we kind of glossed over that. Wall jump, you start the game with this built-in wall jump. The wall jump item itself makes wall jumps much easier, and they actually go higher than the built-in wall jump, so it's definitely still required in some locations to have that, as opposed to just the built-in one.
Yep, it does make some of the wall jumps you're required to do a little easier. If you upgrade it, it actually lets you do more wall jumps than you would normally be able to, which is also super helpful.
I guess we never talked about the little Easter eggs that people might have been seeing. The little rainbow Easter eggs are, well, they're exactly that. They are Easter eggs that are added to the game. There's a lot of them. If you want to go hunt them down, good luck. Some of them are very free and visible, and some of them are definitely not that. But if you collect 5 of them, you will get an extra magic for ribbon, which actually isn't that useful. I don't even think we get 5 of them in this run, so you probably won't be seeing that. But they do actually give you a little bit of money every time you pick one up. I think it's 1,500 bunny monies. And we will definitely be using all of our money at the end of the run to buy some stuff.
So we have Nieve on Allie and Freyas' screen. This is a particularly annoying boss. If you get hit, you can get inflicted with a freeze debuff, which will make you take damage if you attack, I believe.
Yeah, as long as you're pressing your attack button, no matter what you're doing with the attack button, I believe you'll take damage. And Nieve's pretty notorious. Her music is called Bounce Bounce, which thank you everyone for putting Bounce Bounce in the chat. It is indeed very bouncy. Likes to jump over your hammer shots, jump over your ribbon shots. Likes to do everything she can to avoid getting hit by your hammer. But now we have two players out of that fight. Poppy has finished.
Poppy just finishing Kotri. Kotri 3, yeah.
Yep, he's now headed to Aurora Palace to do their bouncing. We are traveling just a little bit through the icy place that we were in earlier, and now we are headed up to Nieve's sister, Nixie, who is probably not as bad, but still kind of bad if you're unfamiliar with the mechanics. You're scaling this mountain. I love the movement of just scaling this mountain up here.
Yeah, you actually can't start the fight with Nixie until you have defeated Nieve, and you can't recruit either of them until you defeated them both. So we're going to be picking up town members 8 and 9 after this fight.
Oh yeah, at the exact same time we will be.
Something that's kind of interesting to note is that Nixie has a lot of the same attacks that Nieve does, except they're a little like messier, more scattered, crazy.
Oh wow. Ali, I saw that super long super carrot charge you did there. That was very brave of you, and I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, you take a lot extra damage if you get hit while charging a super carrot.
Yeah, but the damage payoff, if you can do, I guess we can call it a long charge, is definitely worthwhile. And Freyas gets out of the fight, has taken the lead now.
Yeah, the lead has changed.
Had a very nice Nixie fight. And we are almost headed to the end of the game. We have one more town member to recruit, and I believe that's going to be Chocolate.
Yep.
Chocolate is very close to town. She's pretty easy no matter what stage of the game you're on. I think she's actually supposed to be like one of the first bosses that you can actually fight, and I think her ease kind of reflects that as well. But we're doing a little bit of shopping first. We bought Fire Orb level 3, which is a lot of money, but it is a lot of extra damage. And after Chocolate, I think we're going to be blowing the rest of our money on buffs. So every town member you recruit has a different buff or item that they will sell you. And the ones we get in this run, well, while being fast, they actually have some pretty useful buffs as well that we will be buying once we are ready to access the end area of the game. So Vanilla, I guess it's kind of funny that Vanilla happens to be our first town member and Chocolate happens to be our last. I guess I didn't realize that.
Yep. That's always been a neat thing about the 10 town members run for me, is got that bookend.
So Chocolate has this kind of hovery attack where she kind of hangs out in the air, but if we didn't have all this extra ability to hit aerial targets that we do, it would be more annoying than it is, but she just kind of goes down like a chump.
Yeah, that was an excellent Chocolate fight from Freyas. It's always nice if you can finish with the max rank, because that means you did a lot of hits and didn't take any damage and also moved quickly.
Alright, we are on to the in-game shopping spree here. Watching Freyas here. Buys 4 Cocoa Bombs. Alright. And not interested in buying the defense down debuff from Nieve right next to Cocoa. I didn't notice if they had run out of money or not. Ali bought, I think, 3 Cocoa Bombs and maybe the defense buff. No, not the defense buff. Never mind.
Now, those Cocoa Bombs will still come in handy for these last few boss fights. They are in the final stretches of the game.
Yeah, first off, we have to go through the final chapter transition boss from 3 to 4. We'll be fighting Alias 3, which actually has a bit of an auto-scroller at the start of it. And after that, we can go from 4 to 5, which is actually the end of the game.
Yeah, I believe they're going to buy buffs after Alias 3.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
See, we are used to not glitchless runs where you sequence break the Alias 3 fight and do it much earlier in the game, so...
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
Alright, so here is our first shot at Noah. This fight is kind of an auto-scroller. She, her attack pattern is entirely cycle-based. She'll do the same things every time. And after she does a specific attack, that is when the Alias fight will start. So there's not really much you can do during this. If you attack her, you get some health back, but that's about it. You can get your rank up. I guess we haven't really talked about rank. In the top right, your kind of gauges your attacks and gives you a damage buff if you get high enough rank. Getting hit lowers the rank, so that's why you want to avoid taking damage, because you keep more damage if you don't get hit. The only really other thing to do here, I guess, is you can just not attack Noah, because she gets very slight hit stun every time you hit her, and since the phase doesn't change until after she does a specific attack, you need to keep her out of hit stun as long as you can. And here we see on Freya's screen, Alias 3 has appeared.
Oh no!
Oh gosh, immediately gets hit by the hammer
yeah.
combo. You can see how that just kind of deleted Freya's health. Oh god. You do
I
not
mean,
want to
that's
get hit by
exactly
that.
what it is. That attack does so much damage so fast, there's no way out of it once it starts, and then it sticks you with the attack down and defense down buffs after, just to add insult to injury.
Well, Ali took maybe a 2-second lead for not getting hit by that that hammered attack there, but Freya's cleaned that up pretty nicely without any sort of complications after that. They are searching for their town members to buy their specific buffs. They have both found Nieve, who gives the give defense down buff. That means that when they hit an enemy, they have a chance of lowering the enemy's defense. It's with this specific town member setup, that's almost the only thing you can get that actually increases your damage.
Yep.
They both also bought the Amulet Cut buff, which makes it so that they use 25% less of their amulet gauge whenever they actually use an amulet. So since they have 3 amulet gauges, you can see in the bottom left, that means they actually have 4 uses of it.
Yeah, it's super helpful. Especially since it gives you like that extra cycle if you choose to chain your amulets with super carrots.
Alright, Ali has moved on to the mirror fight, and Freya's is right on her tail.
Yeah, this is still super close.
Miru is actually kind of creepy your first time through this game here. You get kind of this evil bunny here in the background. The music is actually very, very amazing for this fight. It's very fitting for the atmosphere that they were going for.
It gets like it gets progressively faster, higher pitched, and more deranged as the fight goes on too.
So Miru actually takes half damage from Arena. And also you cannot use Ribbon in this fight, so you don't get your extra damage from that either. Luckily, the Fire Orb is actually counted as Ribbon damage. So the Fire Orb does full damage and is very, very good at kind of destroying Miru's health.
Yeah, you can just like watch Miru's health bar and see how fast it goes down once you get near her with the Fire Orb.
Freya's is opting to use some Cocoa Bombs here. That's kind of an item that we talked about earlier. You can buy things from town members. Cocoa Bombs, or Cocoa sells you bombs that you can use to kind of just blow up everything on the screen. And it's actually fairly effective against Miru. Oh no. Did Freya's game die?
Oh no.
Yeah?
That's what happened.
Super unfortunate. Holy cow.
It's not going to end the run because the game does autosave pretty generously. But yeah, when the race is that close, you don't want to see that.
Oh wow, that's super unfortunate. So there is a potential crash with Miru actually. I believe you can actually damage her after the fight is over, and if that like knocks out her kind of dummy sprite, I think that causes the crash. Is that what happens?
I've never heard of this, so I don't know.
I actually just
But
saw
that
it
makes
happen
sense.
to one of these runners the other day, which is why it's so familiar. Well, Ali is on to the Noah fight here, the actual Noah fight this time. So there's this really long phase of the Noah where she just kind of hangs out in the middle of the air here, and you can actually get free damage in.
As long as you're careful of all these bullets just sort of lazily floating around the screen.
Meanwhile, Poppy has finished up. Is Poppy headed towards? I think if Poppy is looking for buffs, they are heading for Miru very shortly.
Yeah, I think they'll be doing Mira next.
Yeah, here's the purple bombs. Alright, Ali on to the second phase of the Noah fight. This kind of spirit bunny here actually is... When I watch people play this casually, they have more trouble on this boss than the other ones, I feel, but I think that's because people are really scared to use their hammer on this fight. This boss gets like deleted by the hammer. It has very low health, and Super Carrot as well does a ton of damage to it.
Yeah. One thing you can do with this game is do a 0% run with only Ribbon as your only source of damage, and that's when that boss becomes extremely difficult.
Yeah, Allie, on to the final boss here, which we call Noah 3. The nameplate says question mark, but it's Noah 3. That's what we call it. Very dangerous boss. Her attacks do a lot of damage, and she has a decent amount of health that it's hard to kind of just completely destroy her. You do kind of. It's maybe like one of the more normal fights compared to a casual run, actually. Poppy is heading up to Miru. We will see how they handle Miru. I didn't see how many Cocoa Bombs Poppy received, so might see some more explosive fight here. Freyas has 2 more Cocoa Bombs, going to be using it on the aerial phase of Noah. When Noah leaves this aerial phase, she has... You can't end the boss fight as soon as her health hits 0. She has to hit 0 and also finish whatever attack she's doing. So if you can get her health down to 0 before she starts the next attack, that's good. Okay, so Freyas did get to skip whatever attack was coming by taking her health down before she chose the attack here.
And Allie's in the final stretch of Noah 3. Time will be when the screen fades out after delivering the final blow.
Gets the giant buff for extra damage. Those little orbs can give you a big or tiny buff, and the big buff is good because it actually gives you more damage, and that will be time for Allie.
GG and congratulations. Yep, and Allie confirms that is almost a 1-minute personal best.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the run looks actually really good.
Yeah, it was super smooth. No major setbacks at all.
Yeah, I didn't see any major problems or bosses or anything. Freya is about halfway done through the Noah 3 fight here. This little column attack that spits out the bullets here, you can actually destroy these bullets with ribbon shots. It's definitely not obvious at first, and it looks extremely difficult to dodge without knowing that. But I'm under the influence that every attack in this game can be dodged. Every damaging attack in this game can be dodged without the use of amulets. That's how I feel about this.
Yeah, there are a couple post-game bosses that have unavoidable debuff attacks, and I think as we mentioned before, one or two of the Illusion Alias phases will do that. But yeah, you can get through this game without taking damage. At least I agree with you there. Not easy to do though.
That will be time for Freyas as well. Congratulations. I can't believe we had the unfortunate crash there after Miru. Not really a crash, but kind of a soft lock because the game doesn't do anything. It never comes back.
Yeah, the crash sucks, but that's a fantastic time nonetheless.
Yeah, congratulations. It was really good that Freya's immediately realized, okay, well this is stuck. Let's get out of here. Let's finish it up. There was no wait time there. Do what you gotta do. You can see the fun credits here and a lot of bosses that we didn't fight. Maybe some abilities too that we don't have.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty funny. This credits cutscene, all of these screens actually take place in the game. So if you go back to your file, it actually shows that you have been at the map spaces that the cutscene takes place on.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really weird. Alright, Poppy is on Noah 1. Probably going to be able to take Noah down to 0 health. I'm not going to have any worry about getting an extra attack here after this aerial phase. It's going to be really close, but I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yo, nice gif on
Nice.
Ali's side.
Hi, Kotri.
The rainbow coterie. I guess we didn't really talk about consumable items. I saw Poppy just eat a donut. You can actually get a donut right after the prologue. I guess we just never mentioned this. You get a donut and a cake. The cake gives you 70% of your health back. That's cool. The donut gives you much less health back, but it also completely recharges Ribbon's boost meter, which I don't think we actually really talked about. Oh my gosh, Poppy just destroyed Noah.
Nice. That was super fast.
Oh my gosh. Coco Bomb makes
Using
that fight
the
so fast.
yeah, Cocoa Bomb, Super Carrots, Amulets, just ends it.
The donut, most importantly, does give you back a full amulet charge as well. So if you're going into the next fight and you have a second, might as well eat a donut, and get that extra amulet charge back that you might have used on the previous boss, since amulets are just so important for offense.
It's much easier than eating something during this fight where you take damage while eating food, you get interrupted, and then don't get the benefit.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Poppy just assaulting Noah, keeping that max rank. Well, I shouldn't have said that. Mostly keeping that max rank despite taking all these hits just shows how aggressive they are being to Noah. That's just, you gotta keep that max rank just because 40% increased damage is a ton. That's what max rank gives you. So as long as you can avoid taking damage and keep close to the max rank, you just gain so much extra damage. The Fire Orb and Super Carrot both really give you a lot of that meter very quickly, so it's actually not a bad idea to start with those during a fight to get that high rank as soon as you can. Actually running a little low on health.
It's a bit scary. Oh no, and they're out of consumables.
Uh-oh. We got Big Bunny, so we have bonus damage, but that also makes things really hard to dodge. Might be able to take Noah out before... Oh gosh. I actually think the big debuff actually reduces the amount of damage you take as well. Oh, this is going to be a photo finish.
Yeah, it definitely does increase your defense a bit.
Oh,
no!
Oh, shoot. Right at the end. So that attack specifically, if you stand directly under Noah, those lasers just kind of curve right under you. They won't hit you at all. But I think Poppy may not have realized it right away what Noah was about to do, so kind of jumped away and into an unfortunate place.
It's a good start this time, though.
Yeah, but you got to get right back into the fight here.
Yep.
Yeah, this Pillar of Light, you can see the chunk taken out that I think a Ribbon Shot may have whiffed. The back of Ribbon Shot hit that. Looks like someone took a bite out of that.
Yummy, yummy laser walls.
Mm-hmm. I guess another thing we didn't really mention is that if you combo bosses enough, they will get this buff called Quick Reflexes, and that pretty much just reduces the amount of stun that they take from attacks to zero. They'll stop getting stunned by attacks and immediately start their next attack. If an enemy has quick reflexes, Fire Orb seems to tick very quickly on them. You get a lot of damage, and also amulets will remove that quick reflexes buff, so you can use that to extend your combo. Just talking about how offensive amulets are. They're much better for offense than they are defense, in my opinion.
Yep, so as long as you're comfortable enough with the bosses and their patterns that you don't need to use them defensively, you can get a nice boost in offense.
Oh no, Poppy got hit by the small orb, so those orbs kind of alternate in size. If you get hit when they're small, they give you the small debuff. If you do get hit by them, you want to get hit by the big ones, so they give you the big debuff, so you can be a big, strong bunny. And that will be time for Poppy.
Yeah, round 2 versus Noah 3 there. Really good. GG.
Yeah, very, very nice race. That was close all the way up until the end with that one unfortunate death. That was really, really good. Before we head to intermission, I do want to read a couple donations here. We have a $20 anonymous donation with no comment, but thank you very much, Anonymous. And $10 from Kappa Moser, who says, "Hi, Allie. Good luck."
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for everyone for watching, and thank you to the runners for allowing myself and Aaron to commentate this race. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great. I really enjoyed this.
Yep. So I guess that's it then. We'll go ahead and sign off.
Yep.